Emma Lenny Beye Nile Loko. Esiku Dede Asikoyi. Hello everyone, it's Adironke again. I hope your day is going well. Today I'd like to talk about another offer. An offer is a referential statement that is used alongside a prayer to manifest something. Typically we would say, because this happens, this would happen in my case. Sort of. I explained what offer is in the video that I dedicated to it. So if you don't really know what it is, I encourage you to watch that video. Offer. And the one I'm going to be doing today involves the snail or the tortoise. It could either be Igbin or Ijapa. And I was listening to one of Ayinla Omowura's songs when I was reminded of this one. This isn't the exact one, but this is
Oṣoògùn ṣé mo ní ọgbàgbà tí gbàrà àdúgbò lọ́wọ́ ewu mo tún dé bí mo ṣe ń dé.
I am about to have this book, this biography of him available soon on my Etsy store. So stay tuned. Probably this week or next week, or if you're watching much later, I probably already have it listed. But if you've seen Ayinla the movie, and even if you've not, you may want to, and you're interested in his life, Ayinla the movie is not really a biography. It's just very centered on the London trip and why it could not happen. But Ayinla had already gone to, Saudi Arabia and whatever country or countries he landed in before getting there. So the London trip would have been nice, but that's not all that there is to the man. It would have just been a bonus, or it may have been something that a lot of people don't remember. There are lots of singers that existed, at the time that went to London, but it's not really the highlight of their careers. But it would have been nice. However, the book contains a very well-rounded exploration of the man's life and dialogues from people that were close to him, and it's just a lot more detailed. It contributed significantly to the success of the movie, according to the producer of the movie. So it's more accurate in terms of the man's life. But I was listening to Ebiki Pagun Dojo Ale. I can't include it because of copyright reasons. However, his songs tend to be very rich in incantations. So if you absorb his music, you may, every other statement is incantatory in nature. You may very well enjoy that from his music. His music is quite rich. So as I was saying earlier, this one is related to the tortoise or the snail, depending on what you say, and it is Bí ìgbín bá ṣú á fi àyà rẹ̀ kó. Bí ìgbín bá ṣú á fi àyà rẹ̀ kó. And if you don't want to use Ìgbín, which is the snail, you could say Bí Ìjàpá bá ṣú á fi àyà rẹ̀ kó. It's from the song, from the part of Ebiki Pagun Dojo Ale that goes, Bí ìgbín bá ṣú á fàyà rẹ̀ kó, bí ìjàpá bá ṣú á fàyà rẹ̀ kó. Má gbẹ̀yìn làgbà lédì ń dún, má ṣẹ́gun ọ̀tá má rẹ́yìn yódì. If you say bí ìgbín bá ṣú á fi àyà rẹ̀ kó, it's correct. And if you choose not to use Ìgbín and you want to use the tortoise instead, bí ìjàpá bá ṣú á fàyà rẹ̀ kó, it's also correct. They just sound really, although they are, separate incantations, they are very much the same as far as meaning is concerned. That's why I decided to do them both at the same time. Like, most of the words are the exact same, except whatever animal you choose. So let's explore the awful word for word. Let's explore the incantatory statement word for word. B is if. B is if. Ìgbín is the snail. Snail. Ìjàpá is the tortoise. So if you say bí Ìgbín, you would be saying if the snail. You say bí Ìjàpá, you're saying if the tortoise. Ba is may. Ba is may. Shu is defecate. I have a video on other words. Shu, shega. They are words and phrases that could very well be synonyms for shu if you don't want to use shu. Defecate, and then a. The first a there is he or she. A. The second a is will. If you don't want to use this dialect, if you don't want to go a, you could say oma. The o there would be he or she. The ma would be will. If you don't want to use those, you could use yo. The yi there would be he or she or it. The o there would be will. We have several dialects. So if you don't hear one thing, don't fret. It's probably just another dialect. A is he or she, will. Fi is use. Aya is the chest. Aya. Ayare, the re there, or if you like, you could say e. Re is older, but it just became e in certain dialects. So if you say re, it works. If you say e, it works. That would be is or her or its. We don't really differentiate between and among the genders, but I don't want to put they there. I just want it to be clear that it's one thing, because they sometimes gives the impression of two or more people is why. But in and of itself, we don't really care about sex. This one is male, this one, it's not present in our language. Even the words that we use, like obìnrin and ọkùnrin, those words are saying things in and of themselves that have nothing to do with male or female or the genital that the person has. It's more in relation to the role that those words exist, or in relation to the character, than the what is in between the legs. So obìnrin, akọ, abo, all these are just descriptive of role and character, not necessarily. Even oko, aya, they have nothing much to do with whether the body part that the person has, or so our words are less gender controlled than most other ones. So re anyway would be is or her or e. Ko is to pack. Ko will be pack it. I explained how to form it, him, her, it. I explained how to do so in my video on pronouns, on singular and plural pronouns. I think I made it a few months ago. It's pretty recent. If you would like to know how to construct short sentences in Yoruba, especially using pronouns, since we tend to use pronouns a lot, you might want to watch that video. Ko is to pack, o is it. So the transliteration, if I put all these words together, it'd be something like this. It's a separate language, so I would have to translate after showing you the transliteration for you to really understand it. But if you observe the transliteration, it is, if the snail, or if you like, you can say, if the tortoise may defecate, he or she will use his or her chest to pack it. That is what the transliteration is. Obviously, that is not a good translation. I have to rearrange some words and take some out to give you a good translation, because Yoruba and English are quite separate languages. The sentence structures are not the same, and so on. If the snail may defecate, he or she will use his or her chest to pack it. Let me make that make sense to an English speaker. If the snail or tortoise defecates, he or she will pack the feces with his or her chest. So that may be clearer. If the snail defecates, he or she will pack the feces with his or her chest. Because they crawl for the snail glides. Suppose that's what you would say, with all that slime. With the snail in particular, it's not easy for them to poop without it touching their chest. It's almost impossible, except they take a certain position. But if they are kept in a particular place, if they go, they will still, and they have to pass that same path. It's like, okay, the snail defecated on the path. If they come back, their chest, the lower part of their body, will still have to glide through the feces. So it's not really easy for them to avoid their own feces, is what that is saying. For the tortoise, it's the same thing. It's like, if you put a tortoise somewhere and they defecate, it would be very difficult for their body not to touch the feces. And in cases where that doesn't happen, if the tortoise goes, it will still have to return, depending on where the tortoise is, will still have to come back to that path. The emphasis there is they can't hop, they cannot jump, they cannot skip. Whatever mess they make on the floor, they still have to crawl over it. So if you look here, you would see a snail defecating. Because they don't defecate from the rear because of their shell, they defecate from the side of their body. See the feces on the snail's chest. They can't necessarily escape their own poop even without having to go and then return, and then having no choice but to crawl over the feces. The feces touches their chest, touches them. They don't have that easy, okay, from the rear, it doesn't touch you body type. So see, for the tortoise, it's the same thing. It's like when they defecate, it still touches them because they cannot get up from it. The way that a human would, and let's say a human is squatting or sitting, they can get up from their feces without, except in certain cases, I don't want to gross you out, but they cannot get up from it. They still have to crawl. A bit of that touches them. And aside that, if this tortoise in the video that I'm hovering over, if they have to come back through that path, they would still have to crawl over. I mean, they can't jump over it. They can't skip over it. They will still have to pass through. So that's what this is saying. It's very similar to the one that I did previously. This one is any trouble or mess that is left for you will naturally and eventually become the problem of the troublemaker. It's very relaxed. This one is more like, it's like being aware, conscious in the fact that anybody who does evil will reap it. It has a very karma recognizing thing to it. If a person does something, which is why it's used in prayers of protection, it's like anybody who does evil to you will fall into their own trap, fall into their own mess naturally, even without you having to do anything, to protect yourself or to avoid what they've set for you. It's like naturally it's going to become their problem, it's going to become their portion. So because this happens, because these animals that crawl, when they defecate, when the feces is being used as a metaphor for shit, so to say, for traps, for trouble, for setups, for evil, for this one I had to do quickly because recently I had a funny experience, and it seemed like somebody was sent to me for a fact finding or information collection purpose. somebody contacted me on one of the social media platforms, and there was a bit of enthusiasm in speaking to me and connecting with me, but I, can smell bullshit from a mile away. So I was able to confirm that this person did not necessarily have good intentions. Immediately they wanted to know where I lived or what area I lived in, and it was like, okay, yes, somebody must have sent you to me in one way or another. I know what you're doing. So I guess the person also knew that I knew exactly what they were doing, because they did not contact me after that. But this one just felt like the right time to address this incantation, and it's one that you can use in your prayers as well. Anybody who leaves mess for you will naturally pack their mess themselves. When a tortoise defecates, it would, if it doesn't touch their chest right away, if they are going to crawl past that same path, they are still going to crawl over their feces, over their own shit. So it's not going to be your problem, it's going to be theirs. They are going to reap exactly what they sow without you being affected by it. So that's what that is. And it's from this album, this Ebiki Pagundale album. I wish I could play it, but I did a quick test and I noticed that the people who are handling the copyrights are not playing. I would have played that part of the song, but if you look for it on YouTube, you can listen to that part of the song. It's a very interesting interesting album. So that's that. Big Bimbashu Afi Ayare Ko. Bí Ìjàpá bá ṣu Afi Ayare Ko. Big Bimbashu Afayare Ko. Bí Ìjàpá bá ṣu Afayare Ko. Má gbẹ̀yìn làgbà létí yín do. I encourage you to listen to the song and stay tuned for this book that is going to be available soon on my Etsy store. I have about how many copies will I get? I guess we'll find out. So stay tuned, and I'll probably update the comment section when it arrives, so you can check it out. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to ask. Thank you for watching. Thank you for your time, and I'll see you in the next video. Enjoy the rest of your day. Oh yes, thank you to my patrons, my YouTube members. I can't really do it without you. Thank you so much, and I'll see you in the next video. Enjoy the rest of your day, and bye for now.